Inside Out 2 is the long-awaited sequel to what I think is one of the best Pixar movies of all time. Despite coming out 9 years after the first film, Inside Out 2 takes place only 1 year after its predecessor. Riley is now 13 years old. In this film, her mind headquarters is undergoing a sudden demolition to make room for new emotions. When one new emotion in particular shows up, anxiety, the characters we know and love in joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust aren't sure how to feel. This is a spoiler-free review, but I will be touching on a few basic plot elements. I assume that most of you have seen this film already. I actually saw it during its opening weekend, but it has taken me a while to collect my thoughts, and I honestly think that I need to go and see it again because I have very mixed feelings. This is one of the better sequels that Pixar has put out. It isn't Toy Story sequel level, but there are so many things that I really liked here. Kelsey Mann takes over from Peter Docter as director, and this is Mann's directorial debut. You can feel the change, you can feel that Mann is less experienced. Whilst Docter had a good sense of pace in the first film, Inside Out 2 doesn't slow down for even a moment. There is always a line of dialogue filling the space, a lot of which is lacking in wit, which made for a less entertaining film than the first. This is still a fun film, however. This is one of the more serious films that Pixar has put out, so I understand that it isn't exactly supposed to be fun in the same way as the first one. After all, adolescence isn't as fun as childhood, but I still felt like I wanted to laugh a little more. There were some funny jokes about halfway through. One involving a video game character was my favourite joke in particular. This slight dip in quality of dialogue and humour could be contributed to Lisa Lapira and Tony Hale replacing Mindy Kaling and Bill Hader as disgust and fear. As I understand it, Kaling and Hader not only helped to build their characters from the ground up, but also assisted with the dialogue in the script. However, I imagine I'm inflating their contributions, and the change probably didn't affect the project all that much overall. Amy Poehler is once again so pitch perfect as Joy here. I would be very sad if it was her who didn't return. The Pixar magic is definitely present with this film. It is colourful and whimsical. It really goes without saying at this point that the animation is gorgeous. One moment that stood out to me is when anxiety is spiraling around the desk in Riley's head and it creates this orange light trail effect. Really good stuff. Anxiety is the most interesting of the new emotions. Embarrassment, envy, and boredom don't really do anything in the film, which is one of the more disappointing elements of it. I was expecting them to do something in Act 3, but they never really felt like they had a purpose. Anxiety is well realised and a great addition. Maya Hawke is pitch perfect casting. I love the idea of normalising that emotion for children as well. Although much like Toy Story 3, this film is targeted at those that grew up with the first one. Kids will enjoy this film, no doubt, but its thoughtful exploration of early adolescent struggles will heavily resonate with teenagers more so. There are so many little moments of social awkwardness that were captured so authentically that it makes you cringe remembering whenever you've had a similar experience or acted in that kind of way. The first film had a lot of rich world building, however its concept doesn't lend itself to being expanded upon easily in sequels, so the world building is pretty lacking in this one. I thought the idea of a belief system was really smart, but it ends up serving a similar narrative purpose to the core memories in the first film. The familiar story beats it presents can be a little tiresome. A big issue I had with the script that not a lot of people may have really cared about is that it almost entirely ignores Riley's parents. They make it clear at the beginning of the film that Family Island is smaller than it used to be. I totally understand that. When you're a teenager, your primary focus is on your friends or trying to be cool, and you often pull away from your parents or fight with them. But just because Riley is dismissive of her parents doesn't mean that the film should be. I think this was an oversight, as not only were the parents important in the first one, but I think it fails to send the right kind of message to young people regarding parents. I think the parents should have stepped in and parented at some point in Act 3 and helped to guide Riley a bit. I do think the topics the film touches on could provoke important thoughts in young people and promote important conversations with their elders. However, the film was paced too fast. It never lets itself marinate or sit in its moments. Think of moments in the first film, like where the characters are all sitting around the dinner table, or when Riley first enters her new house. All quiet and contemplative moments. This film seldom has any of those, which hurts its emotional payoffs. A particularly well executed anxiety attack scene in Act 3 failed to really touch me emotionally due to my issues with the pacing. I also thought that they failed to truly explore consequences for all of Riley's bad behaviour throughout the film. The ending was so abruptly wrapped up that it feels as if they didn't know how to end it. They just wanted to get it over and done with, and so when you start to ponder the film, you do find a few loose ends with Riley's arc. Still, it's impressive that you could have a character make so many bad choices throughout the film, and the audience still love to follow her. So for me, the film is a completely mixed bag, really. I'm split right down the middle on it. I feel compelled to see it again, especially since the majority of people I talk to or critics I see online are loving it. And I do have a lot of goodwill towards the film. It does feel like it has a lot of heart, but it falls around the middle in my overall Pixar rankings, so far at least. I am very happy at the strong box office performance of this film, becoming the first billion-dollar film of 2024. This is a much-needed win for Pixar, and a big win for the Hollywood box office in general, as the film has been breaking financial records. It was great to see it in a packed cinema and feel the excitement in the room and the reverence of the audience for the cinema-going experience. I think this is a good film, but not a great one like the first. Sequels rarely match the original, but I did expect more from this, to be honest. I am still very much on board for a third film, as I think there is potential to continue Riley's journey through to adulthood.